when we first met, I asked you a question. We were in Vegas, and I said, hey, we were just sitting there talking, and I said, why do you say money don't solve money problems? And you explained to me, he says, yeah, you can't pay your way out of money trouble.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest mistake that I've made in my entire life. You know, I probably got $4 million I gave to friends who I shouldn't have, because, you know, you get all this money and you want your friends to like you, but just giving people money, you just, number one, you become an enabler, but it eventually always ruins your relationship. Because if you give somebody $500,000, the first time you tell them no, they hate you.
You bought a $500,000 enemy. Is what you did.
Yes, but when you told me that, I was already into it deep.
Yeah.
Just like all the players, like, yo, man, my family, they're driving me crazy. Friends are driving me crazy. And I had to learn a very valuable lesson. I had to learn the word no. Yeah. You had to lose a lot of friends and not feel bad about it. Because I always tell people, deep down, everybody want to be liked.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah, but I had a family member call me pissed off one time and said, you got $500,000 worth of cars sitting in your garage and they're getting ready to turn my lights off. How can you do that? And my question was, do you have a job?
Yeah.
And they said, no, I don't have a job. I said, well, let me tell you, your job is getting a job. Yeah. If you don't have a job, your job should be working as hard as you would be working if you had a job.
Yes.
So if you don't have a job, don't call me about how much money I got sitting in the garage.
Hey.
If you're working 80 hours a week and you need a little help to get by, then call me. But if you're sitting on the couch watching TV, don't call me about how much money you don't have.
They love to spend your money.
Damn right. And if you the reason I say money doesn't solve money problems is they didn't get there from lack of money. They got there from making bad choices, spending money in the wrong places, spending money that they need for things they need. It doesn't matter what you need. It matters what you can afford.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you need. I needed this coat. Well, you can't afford that coat. So it doesn't matter what you need. Yeah. It's what matters what you can afford.
I wish there's only two people told me that, it was you and Grant Hill's mom, Janet. Because after I talked to you, I spent some time with Calvin and his wife. And every time I see Miss Hill, I just give her a big hug. I said, Miss Hill, Grant just signed for $100 million. Why y'all still working? She says, Charles, get over here. Let me talk to you. She says, this is my number one advice that I'm going to tell you. Don't you start taking care of your family. Yeah. It's going to ruin your life. It's going to ruin your relationship. And every time I see her, I say, you know what? I wish I had listened to you sooner. And Dr. Phil, because it did come back to bite me, because your family resents you if you don't keep them on the payroll forever.
Damn right. My dad used to say beyond that, he said, you better make a little profit off your friends and family because your enemies don't come around too much.
That's exactly right.
Not only do you not give them money, you ought to charge them for what you do.
Yep.
I mean, I totally get it. And we are in a different world. So you've seen the statistic that, what is it, like 80%?
Professional athletes go broke.
Yeah, within 2 years. Mm-hmm. By the time they're out of the league, they're either bankrupt or in serious financial trouble, divorced, drugs or alcohol. Why do you think that is?
Well, number one, your family and friends always want money. That's first and foremost. That's the number one reason. But also all the free time you got. Yeah. If you got a drinking problem or a drug problem and money, it escalates. People always say, Charles, what's your normal day like in the NBA? I says, well, depending. Some teams practice at 10. Some teams practice at 11. Practice lasts an hour and a half, maybe 2 if you're playing bad. But you don't go crazy because you're playing 4 games a week.
Right.
And then I'm off for the day. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you I said, well, first of all, we have a game. Practice only lasts like 30 minutes. But if you don't have a game, I'm pretty much done by noon every day.
Yeah.
And you got a guy who got unlimited income because you're getting $200 a day per diem.
Yeah.
People don't even think about that. We get $200 a day per diem. Yeah. You can get plenty of alcohol and drugs for $200 a day. And I said, if you got any bad habits, and then that go to piggyback on that, I told you, when you retire, you don't have a job. I mean, there's very few TV jobs.
Yeah, it stops the flow.
It stops the
Bang.
flow. And you got 24 hours a day to do absolutely nothing. And if you drink too much or do drugs, it's the perfect storm.
It's a long way to fall.
It's a long way to fall. But I tell people, I call it the alien effect. No matter how great you are, in your mid-30s, they drop you off in this foreign world and say, good luck.
Yeah, good
We're
luck.
done with you.
Yeah.
I said, I'm one of the few got lucky when into television because there's only a couple of TV jobs. But for the rest of the guys, no matter how successful you are, in your mid-30s, most of the time your early 30s, they're going to say, hey, we really appreciate you. We thank you for everything. Good luck.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I don't have a job. I don't have an education. I don't know what to do. Yeah, but we don't worry about you. We got to play the season next.
Yeah, we got a new guy.
We got a new guy.
He's in your locker.
Yeah, and that's how some of these guys really struggle when they retire. Yeah, they really struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it even when they're in the league. It's like you got young guys, pure testosterone flowing through their veins. They got too much money, too much time.
Yeah.
They're young. They're not really well socialized
Yep.
because they're young. They haven't been in the world yet. And I mean, what could possibly go wrong here?
And it's like a candy store of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you want alcohol, you can get it. You want girls, you can get it. You want drugs, you can get it. It's like the perfect storm because anybody who got money, they're coming for it.
Yeah, there's somebody out there.
There's somebody out there trying to get your money.